our video. We're very lucky to have Ollie Jennings from Taylomade, who is an experienced technician, but a club fitter, probably more aptly described as. So we're going to spend the next kind of 10-15 minutes just talking about the new product from Taylomade and why it's so exciting for everyone. So, Ollie, why don't we kick off? Why, the sim range was so good for Taylomade. I know our members really enjoyed it. What's different about the Stealth?
So the biggest thing you're going to see with the new Stealth driver is going to be that big red bright carbon face. Again, we've got a lot of legacy technology, so a lot of things we don't want to lose from previous products because we stand by our technology and we understand that it's going to perform better. So you're going to see a few things like the asymmetric shape, allowing for better aerodynamics, and a few things like the through-slot speed pocket and the adjustable weights and also the adjustable sleeve as well. But the big thing that we're going to be screaming and shouting about, I'm sure you've seen on social media, is going to be that big, bright 60-layer carbon twist face.
Okay, so Ollie, why have you gone for carbon instead of sticking with your traditional sort of titanium faces?
Great question. So a big thing for us, if you can see that my screen still, if I bring up this slide. So the carbon face that we've got on Stealth comes in at 24 grams. The titanium face that featured on Sim 2 was 43 grams. And this face was on Sim 2, it was milled down to the absolute extreme point. We had speed injections trying to take it right to the legal limit so we can make it as fast as possible. So we'd almost come to the end of titanium faces for us. We couldn't really do much more with it. We were kind of at the end point, and so we didn't really know where else to go with it. But I say we didn't really know where else to go with it. This was 20 years in the making, so we actually had early prototypes back in 2018. If you go over to the Asian market, for us in particular, we had a product called the M Galore, which was our titanium/carbon face mixture. And what that was, it was kind of an early attempt for us to see if we could make something that was going to be better than titanium. But I mean, the street value price there, it retailed at £800. So it was an extremely expensive product, and it didn't actually perform any better. But over the last few years, we've been fine-tuning this carbon face to a point now where it's actually overachieving, performing far past titanium faces ever did. And the reason for this is because it almost weighs half the amount, 44% lighter. So a big thing what that allows us to do, one, it allows us to replace that weight around the head, allowing for more forgiving product. So if you say, for example, if we can take the weight from the face area and then re-put it back at the back of the head, it stabilizes. So if you get a strike out towards the toe or the heel, it's going to stop that twisting motion, which causes, let's for example, hit on the toe, it causes that gear effect. It wants to dive and snap left. We've got more weight back here. It's going to stabilize that face and stop it from flipping over. But the biggest thing, which is what we really want people to realize, is how much more ball speed you're going to get from this face. Because how much lighter it is, it requires not nearly as much energy to create the trampoline effect. So we get better energy transfer, meaning we can put more ball speed into that golf ball and make that drive a little bit further.
Right. So I'm aware, obviously, there's more than one model for the Stealth. So I think what might be quite useful for our members is to have an understanding of, I know it's a generalization, but what kind of model would suit what kind of golfer? What kind of ball flight would they expect with each of the models?
Perfect. So if you can see on my screen there, we've got the list of all 4 models. So going from left to right, so we've got our Stealth Plus. So this is going to be what we're kind of calling almost our flagship model. So this is going to have the movable weight, but it's also going to have a slightly further forward center of gravity compared to the other heads. So what this is going to do, it's going to promote more of a lower ball flight. So if you're a golfer who comes into the studio struggling with a really high spinny launch, you've got to lower that launch down big time, you need something like the Stealth Plus, because it's going to launch the ball significantly lower with a lot less spin. But it's also got the movable weight, so you can dial in a preference. If you want to see more of a draw out there on the golf course, get that weight, let's move it down in towards the heel, get that club face turning over a little bit quicker. But if you're more prominent to a snap hook now and then you want to see more of a cut, let's put over that toe side, let's slow that toe side down, let's open it up a little bit more and have more of the cut shape you're looking for. That Stealth driver that sits in the middle, this is our highest MOI product that we've produced to date. This is going to be the most forgiving driver that we've got on the market. So if you're a golfer who just wants to see the best performance out of a new driver, you want most forgiveness, a little bit maybe higher on the launch, you want to get a bit more distance out of it, the Stealth is going to be great for you. Again, an all-rounder, you've not got a weight to mess around with. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that kind of customization or any kind of concerns on the course. Or did I slice that because the weight's over in the toe side? It's literally just a bare bones, highest performance, most forgiving, longest driver that we can produce. Stealth HD being high draw, a shape that we always kind of love to see out there on the golf course, especially if we want to get that high big bomb. This is, again, we're getting all that weight saving from that face and all that ball speed, but we're reproducing it, redistributing it into that heel side. promoting more of a solid draw. So, for example, if we take the Stealth Plus and move that weight all the way into the hillside, it doesn't have nearly as much weight in the hillside as the Stealth HD. So the Stealth HD is going to be for your slicer out there, someone who's got a bit more tendency for a higher spinny cut shot and they want to start finding the fairway a bit more. That's going to be a product great for them. And then our Stealth Women's, there's a slight draw bias in this, but this is really just a kind of a more of a platinum finish. Again, just to try and highlight the more kind of a premium kind of finish that we're looking for in the Stealth Women's. We've got a range of drivers all there for every golfer. So it's great to see.
And is that similar through the fairway woods and hybrids and any other clubs?
Yeah, sure. So moving into kind of our fairways and things like that, we're going to have a similar lineup. We're not going to have a draw biased. Just for us, for a sake, you always get that individual golfer who struggles with their driver potentially, but they're always their backup to their fairway wood. And so for us going into our fairway woods, we want to have fairway woods that kind of cover all bases. So we've got them from a 3 wood from at 15 degrees, all up to a 7 and a 9, and 9 coming at 24. So we've got a whole range of different woods there for golfers as well. And then we've also got our titanium, so that's similar to our Stealth Plus driver. It's going to be slightly low launching and slightly lower spinning. But again, show that ultimate, that kind of low spin bullet you almost thinking of. And then Stealth Women's having that more platinum finish. And then going to our hybrids and things like that. Similar idea, we always want to have a lower spin option for those golfers out there. So if you're an individual who's looking for something off a tee, for example, but you also want to have some versatility out there on the course, actually off the turf, Stealth Plus is going to be a great option. Again, a much lower spinning than our Stealth hybrids, but again, something a bit more playable, you can control, and it does have an adjustable sleeve as well. Stealth and Stealth Women's, this is going to be, again, our more higher launching, more forgiving product. Again, we've redesigned the actual carbon crown here, and it allows us to drop that CG location a bit further down in the head, allowing for a higher launch and more forgiving product. So we've got a whole range of different clubs from drive all the way down to hybrids just to suit every golfer's need.
Excellent, thanks for that, Ollie. Now, just kind of more on a general point, obviously we've got James on the call, who's our specialist fitter at the club. Why would you say as referenced earlier, you're an experienced custom fitter. Why would you say it's important for our members to come and get custom fit?
Yeah, sure. So I've got this little slide here, again, just kind of the importance of custom fitting. Just some brief bullet points on there. But every golfer is going to be slightly different, be it physical stature, height, the way they kind of hold the club, if they're a hitter of the golf ball or a swinger, you could say. We've all got these kind of different preferences when it comes to actually swinging the golf club. We've all got different amounts of speed that we can put into the golf ball as well. So, for example, someone with a higher club head speed is probably going to generate a lot more spin than someone with a bit more of a slower tempo, you could say. And so someone with maybe a little bit slower tempo needs something to increase their spin and launch. And I think a big thing as well, when you go into a fitting, you almost have something kind of like that stigma or almost an ego kind of thinking, well, oh no, I don't need that because I've still got loads of speed. I've got to get the ball out there. And sometimes you just got to let the fitter almost guide you sometimes and just say, look, this is what you're going to need. This is what you're going to get out. You're going to have more control. And you're going to see that in the studio as well. You're going to get that shaft that just clicks and you go, oh, I like the feel of this. Performance is much better. You're going to see that percent angle get a little bit steeper with the irons. But the biggest thing as well is looking at that driver. Again, this is something that we don't have to worry about too much about variations. Balls on a tee every time. I hope you don't hit driver off the deck too many times in your career. But if you've got it on a tee, it's always going to be pretty consistent. So we can actually kind of look at those numbers and go, well, this is optimal for you. Let's get a shaft that's maybe going to lower that launch, lower the spin. You're going to probably find you're going to be hitting that ball 10, 15 yards further just by changing the kind of loft on your driver. I've added an image there of a bell curve. So that is really kind of just there as club manufacturers, the shafts we choose as standard that go on the shelf is for the mass market of golfers. So that's going to sit right at that top of that kind of bell curve, that shaft, manner in the middle for every kind of golfer. You might not be the average Joe when it comes to fitting. This is why it's always great to test and fit clubs. You can always get something that's going to perform maybe slightly better than the standard shaft, or it might be the standard shaft because you fit slap bang in the middle. It's always important to go out, test it, try a different shaft, try different variations in loft, and see what works best for you.
That's great. Thanks, Ollie.
Awesome.
Before we go, James, have you got any more questions for Ollie at all?
Just maybe, Ollie, if you could just quickly talk about the importance of ball fitting as well, just aside of
yeah, definitely.
A lot of people don't see the point of using like a premium offering. So
yeah, definitely. So a big thing for us, again, if you look at the amount of balls that we offer as a manufacturer, so we've got our top level ball at our TP5 and TP5X. TP5X being that ultra low spinning, low launching golf ball, again for the golfer with loads of speed. But as we know, our average Joes, and for me, for myself, I don't swing the golf club extremely fast. So I played with just a TP5, so it's a slightly softer ball itself, so it's quite a lower compression in that sense. So it suits me better. But then you've also got golfers, if they need to get the ball spinning and launching a little bit higher, they can look at something like a softer compression golf ball, like our soft response or our tour response. Tour response is a great kind of mid-level golf ball. So you've got a urethane cover there, which is the same cover that features on our TP5, TP5X. And I know it's the same material used in a Pro V1 and a Chrome Soft and things like that. So all your premium golf balls are made with urethane covers. So if you want to have something that's like softer compression-wise, but this is the great thing about testing. Get a sleeve, go to the putting green, go to the short game area, try a few different situations. But the biggest and best thing is going to be getting in that studio, looking at spin rates and numbers. It might not be a case that you need to completely change the loft and setup of your irons. You might just need to change your golf ball. It's always best to test. Awesome. Any other questions from you guys as well there?
Don't think so. I don't know what's happened to James actually.
Is James frozen?
Looks like it.
Sorry, you lost me for a second. I'm back now.
Good stuff. But yeah, I mean, so the biggest thing with the golf ball is just making sure that you give it a test in the studio. As soon as the numbers look great with driver and irons and things like that, take it out to the short game area, see how it works around the greens, and see if it's responsive to what you need. But the biggest thing as well is just making sure it's suited to your golf club as well. The last thing you need to be doing is if you've got someone coming in for, let's say, for example, that you guys might have a long par 3 or something like that. If they're coming in saying, well, when the summer I need to hit 4 iron, and because it's only going to run up, but in the winter I need to play 3 wood, but then it's just maybe too much man through it. It might be an idea that you get a hybrid in the bag to play something like that. Add a bit more versatility. Look at the golf course you play and get your bag set up to best suit that. Don't have this bag, almost, we call it a hero bag sometimes. Just because Tiger's playing a 2 iron, he might be playing the Open that week. That's why he's got it. But when it comes to the Masters in April, he's going to have a 5 wood in there for sure. Just something he can launch a little bit higher, come a little bit softer. It doesn't have to worry too much about it spinning. But getting checked and getting everything sorted in the studio is always great.
Great. Ollie, that's really helpful. Apologies for all my technical issues, and apologies to anyone watching. We're really excited to get it in. We know that we've already done a lot of pre-orders, and I think people are going to be very excited to have some fittings with us. I think the fitting kit might be with us tomorrow, actually. So, or some of it will be anyway. So, members, please feel free to come and have a look, or book a fitting in. And you never know, you might see Ollie at some point this year when we do a demo day. But thanks, Ollie, very much. Cheers, James, and we'll see you all soon.
Cheers.
Ollie.
Thanks for having me, guys. Cheers.